Hi, everybody. My name's Tina Lerno, and I'm a librarian on the digital content team. And today I'm joined by my colleague and friend, Lauren Spector, a young adult librarian at the Memorial Branch Library.
It is our pleasure to welcome you to today's Your Author series featuring author Tyler Fetter, who will be discussing her young adult graphic memoir, Dancing at the Pity Party. Please feel free to use the chat box to send in your questions and comments, and they'll be answered towards the end of the program. And don't forget to email ecdept@lapl.org for your chance to be entered into an opportunity drawing to win a copy of Dancing at the Pity Party.
And of course, we want to thank our generous donors, the Lenore S and Bernard A. Greenberg Fund, as well as the Library Foundation, and our amazing behind-the-scenes staff for helping the library bring these author and illustrator programs to you virtually. Thank you all so much.
We would also like to recognize and acknowledge the first people of this land. We recognize and acknowledge their elders, past and present, as well as their descendants. For information on which territory you may reside on, check out native-land.ca.
In today's Your Author program, author and illustrator Tyler Fetter will be discussing her book, Dancing at the Pity Party, a young adult graphic memoir about the premature death of her super cool mom. This acclaimed graphic memoir has been called cathartic and uplifting as the author works through the process of grieving as well as being able to move forward. And now for what we've all been waiting for, let's welcome Tyler.
Hi. Hi, Tyler. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, we thought we would start by having you tell us about the book for a few minutes and showing us reading a little section of it.
Sure. So as you mentioned, Dancing at the Pity Party is a graphic memoir. So it's like a graphic novel, but memoir style. And it is a hopefully somewhat humorous telling of a really, really horrible time in my life when I was a sophomore in college and my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and sick for 8 months and then died. It was just terrible. There's no way to really sum that up in words. But this book, I wrote it about 10 years after my mom died, so I had time to kind of settle into this new version of myself. And hopefully it'll help people who are in a similar situation feel seen. I know that when my mom died, I felt really isolated and just kind of weird and different from other people. And I also felt like a lot of people who had not experienced a loss like that were just didn't get it. I mean, obviously they didn't get it. How could they? But hopefully if they read my book, they'll be able to understand it a little bit more of a realistic sense than maybe the heightened version that you'd see on like Grey's Anatomy or whatever.
I was going to ask if we can get the PDFs up. So
yeah, the screen is like reverse
Oh, there we go.
what you normally see on Zoom, and it's really distracting. I'm
It's
not
very
used
weird.
to seeing myself in this direction. All right, so this is what I like to call chapter 0. It's like this little introduction section before the book really begins in earnest. So I thought I would read this and kind of gives you an idea of what the book is if you haven't seen it before. All right. My mom used to tell me I had Minnie Mouse eyelashes. She taught me to speak my mind, to arrange my belongings in rainbow order, and to spread the cream cheese all the way to the edges of the bagel. She was gentle and silly and annoying and dorky, and she didn't take crap from anybody. In 2008, the summer after my first year of college, she was diagnosed with cancer. By spring break my sophomore year, she was dead. Not to be melodramatic, but it was the worst. Our culture has a bizarre relationship with death. We don't like to talk about it except in bland platitudes, like thoughts and prayers, or in over-the-top horror movies. Death is sad and sometimes really scary, but oscillating between euphemisms and torture porn does not a healthy relationship with mortality make. Hello, my mom died. What now? So, as a frizzy, anxious 19-year-old who suddenly found herself motherless, I felt, as my therapist put it, like I was on an iceberg out to sea. I was rudderless and raw, and the worst part was that no one wanted to talk about any of it. My dad and 2 younger sisters were definite allies, but we were all so stuck in our own grief that none of us could see the forest for the trees. My friends were sweet. That's 2 of my friends giving me a framed photo of my mom and me when I was a baby, when I first got back to college. And my professors were incredibly understanding. Oh my gosh, I left out a page. Whatever, you'll understand if you read the book. Basically, I'm saying everyone was nice, but it was still really hard. I still find myself searching for a book or movie or website or, I don't know, Snap Story. If I was writing this now, I would say TikTok, but this is a couple of years old. That cradles my grief without smothering it. And these are like the types of books that you see. Overly sentimental, tragic death novel, How to Cope with Aging Parents, Late Stage Cancer for Dummies, and Boohoo, My Ferret Died, a memoir. This book is for my mom and for me and for anyone struggling with loss who just wants someone to get it.
Wow. What was it like having your first work be so personal? Was it something that you had in mind to write for a while, or how did it come about?
Yeah, it's been really wild because just in my day-to-day life, I'm like a pretty private person. It takes a long time for people to get to know me well, and now there are all these strangers that just like know this really intimate, dramatic part of my life that I've never met before. But that was kind of the goal. So my mom died when I was a sophomore in college, and then when I was a junior or senior, I took this creative nonfiction writing class, and the teacher had us write some sort of personal essay as one of the assignments, and I did it in cartoon form, which was not something I'd ever really done before. I have always been really artsy. That's been kind of my defining quality since I was a super little kid. I took tons of art classes in school, but never really did like comics per se. I did one panel, like political comics for the school newspaper, but I mean, I hope no one ever.
Major at the time.
I was a radio, TV, film major, which my college, if you were that major, you could either take the production path, so like directing, producing, or you could take the writing path. So I was like a screenwriting major. I was writing scripts all the time. So I just had this really amazing experience writing this little essay. It was about my mom dying, and it was really fresh at the time. And it was really short. It was like 4 pages long, and it was black and white. And I was pretty out of practice with drawing because I wasn't able to take art classes in college since I wasn't an art major, and they would fill up really quick, and they were hard to get into. So it was just this like experience where I was like, oh my God, this feels so right. Like, this is such a good way of making art. It's a form of art that feels really natural to me, and it's also just a form of communication that feels really natural, more than just typing up prose. So I turned in this essay. It, I think, got an A. I don't remember. And then much later on, I like shared it on social media. And by the time I had an agent and stuff, I basically showed it to a publisher and was like, I want to make a full-length version of this. And it worked out. So that's kind of the birth of this book.
So when did you actually decide to focus more on art and drawing? I mean, as opposed to the screenwriting, or do you still do screenwriting? Maybe that's still part of your...
I don't do screenwriting, although it feels like there's a lot of overlap with comics and screenwriting, because basically all the speech bubbles are dialogue, you know. It's there's more in common with comics and screenwriting than there is with comics and other kinds of writing, at least in my experience. But yeah, I was like obsessed with Tina Fey in high school and college, to the point where it was kind of like a running joke of how nuts I was with my writing teachers. And but also I was like dealing with a lot of mental health issues. I mean, obviously my mom had just died, but also other stuff that at that point was undiagnosed. So when I graduated, I moved back home for a little bit, and I had a desk job at an accounting firm and did data entry, and just wanted to jump out the window because it was hard and boring at the same time, which is like the worst combination. And I was just like so desperate to do something creative, so I started like drawing little things and putting them on at that point Tumblr, and eventually that turned into an Etsy shop. And then that kind of snowballed into more of an art presence. And then I got an offer to illustrate someone else's book, and that got me an agent. And then I had an agent, and then I found a publisher, and it was all very, a lot of luck and a lot of just like being at the right place at the right time. When I was taking my writing classes in school, there would always be like one class at the end of the grading period where we would talk about the business of writing. And like every time the teacher would say, there's not like a way that you get an agent, it just kind of happens. And that was very frustrating to me, because I like having rules that I can follow and plans. And unfortunately, that is how I got an agent. It was just by like, it just kind of happened. But I kind of feel like I was so unlucky with my mom dying when she did, that I'm just like taking in the good luck now.
For sure. Did it take you, did your art style evolve from, was there a transition period of from the cartoons and what you were doing?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was mostly by just making a lot of art. I think like the more drawings you make, they're not all going to look exactly like they did when you started. They just kind of naturally improve. And I also started getting really into like looking at other artists on social media, so I'd get inspired by like different little qualities that they put in their art and kind of try to pick and choose and incorporate things into my style. But my style's probably still evolving. I don't know if it'll ever stop. It's always different.
Probably a good thing, right? I mean,
yeah. I remember when I was a kid, my mom said she heard that for most people who don't draw regularly, because most people have no need to, that like the way they drew when they were 10 years old is kind of how they'll draw for the rest of their lives. And I was older than 10 when she told me that, but not much older than 10. And I remember thinking that was so sad. I mean, it's not like every person in the world needs to be into art, but it's definitely been an improvement to my life to keep drawing so regularly as I've gotten older.
Yeah. So one of the things that both Tina and I really loved about Dancing at the Pity Party was seeing all the Jewish traditions displayed in a graphic novel. We hadn't really seen much of that before. So we were curious if that was sort of a conscious choice to include, or if it just felt natural. Like, how did you feel about adding all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually been so interesting for me to see how many people have responded to the book by saying like, oh, I learned about Judaism, because it, from my end, did not feel like I was like, here's a Jewish book. It's about my family, and my family's Jewish. And I think for many religions, a lot of religious stuff happens around life cycle events, births and deaths and weddings. And so if I was going to describe my life right around when my mom died, like it would have to be very weird and like with bits cut out if I was going to leave the Jewish part out. Like it was so much a part of my life at that point. But I also had to kind of figure out the happy medium between like over explaining in a way that's kind of like pedantic, or for people who are Jewish, they're like, oh my God, you're talking to me like I'm in kindergarten. But I also didn't want people to like fully not understand what it was about. I grew up in an area with a pretty big Jewish population, so it feels very like everyday kind of stuff to me. But it's been really cool that people have learned about Judaism. And I just think, like, in my experience, Shivas are just the best thing to do after someone dies. Take all the religion out of it, just having family and friends around and eating and not having obligations to do anything other than being kind of surrounded by love for a week. Like, what could be better than that?
Yeah. It seemed to me like you hit that like perfect happy medium, because it didn't feel like it was like too like there weren't too many explanations, but it was enough that like I could totally see somebody that didn't understand the traditions understanding it a lot more after reading this book.
I'm glad.
And Lauren and I both grew up in sort of popular areas that had large Jewish populations. So it always seemed, it's when I left that area, I realized, wow, not everybody like has had this experience.
Yeah, it's so funny. I never thought of myself as being like an unusual religion. But yeah, there are people that'll read my book and be like, I don't know any Jewish people, and like this is the first I've heard about Jewish morning rituals. So honored to get to describe it to them.
And happy 5783.
Oh, thank you. Very excited.
New year.
So
did being in like the last 2 years have been, or 3 years, I don't even know how many years it's been.
I've lost count.
Did that change your writing habits? Did it change how much you drew, what you were working on?
Oh yeah. So I worked from home before COVID. So in that aspect, like my life is not that different, but my productivity just plummeted. I had no creativity. Honestly, I'm still like kind of working through that. And I've been still working on books during that time, but it sometimes feels like pulling teeth. I had a writing teacher in college that would talk about creative input and creative output. So like creative output is making art, and creative input is all these things you can do to kind of like take in stuff that will inspire you. So like watching a movie or going for a walk or people watching, all these things like that. And I think I did a lot less of that during COVID because I was stuck inside. So I'm trying to as we're moving further away from the like deepest part of quarantine, I'm trying to start getting more excited about art again. But I have been, during COVID, I worked on children's books, which is a very different experience from working on this depressing graphic memoir. Getting to draw just like colorful, fun pictures definitely has been a nice outlet. And life feels pretty tough.
And we just popped up your website on the screen, and you know, both Tina and I have been on your website, of course, stalking you a little bit, you know. And we wanted to mention about your about the fashion drawings that you have on your website. Yes. We both just totally love those. And Tina's quote was, "Were you looking directly into my closet?"
So what this is this is before COVID. I started making these work from home fashion drawings, and it's these just like horrendous outfits that I've cobbled together that I wear when I'm just gonna be at home all day. And the sheer number of people that have accused me of like having spy cameras is so absurd. It honestly makes me kind of feel better, because I thought everyone's like sitting at home all dressed nicely, and I'm just like a schlub with like stains and like mismatched everything. And but I guess we're all around the world, we're just like in our blanket caves, just like typing away at the same time.
Oh my gosh! You also mentioned that on your website that you do jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah.
And Lauren and I are avid puzzlers.
I love the word puzzler. Yeah, my mom was big into jigsaw puzzles, and I have a lot of fond memories as a kid of like, we did them on vacation a lot because my grandparents had a house in Florida, and we would just go and like sit around the kitchen table. Kind of all the like women in my mom's generation and my grandma, and then I would like come there at night and do puzzles with them. So it's doing them by myself has been like a really comforting, peaceful thing to do, especially during COVID.
Yeah, and so what that is.
I don't know.
Speaking about your picture books too, I just have to say that I would love to see like some artwork from Bodies Are Cool as a jigsaw puzzle. I'm like, I feel like that artwork would be so cool as a puzzle.
I love that. Honestly, like my favorite jigsaw puzzles are the ones that have a lot of stuff going on in them. I think they're more fun to me than the ones where it's just like one big landscape or something. So yeah, those drawings are the type of art that I would enjoy.
They'd be so cool.
Thank you. I'll see what I can do.
Wow. Oh my gosh. We would love that. We would totally do your puzzle. We like 1,000-piece, so just keep that.
Yeah, me too. That's my favorite. I like 1,000-piece because it needs to take more than one day.
Yes.
At least for me. I can't just muscle through it and then it kind of sucks the fun out of it. I really like having a puzzle just going on my kitchen table, and I can like come in and out of working on it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to young people who are interested in becoming authors or illustrators?
Oh man. I hate to be like such a broken record, but I tell people this all the time. I think just like making a lot of art and putting it online is the way to go. I mean, the internet is a different place now than it was when I started in like 2012-ish. So I'm sure that the ways that people get noticed have evolved too. But in my experience, just like I started on Tumblr and then I ended up using Instagram a lot. And Twitter a little bit too. And it's like, mathematically, if 3 people see your art and then they each share it with however many people, it sounds like a pyramid scheme, but it's like exponentially more people will see your art if you put it online. And genuinely, I would not have the career I have now if it weren't for opportunities I've gotten by just people seeing my art online, by whatever logarithm has happened. The publisher that I've published all my books with just like saw my stuff and sent me an email out of nowhere. And I've been working with her for many years, and she's wonderful. And like, you just never know. I've done tons and tons of art that I felt really good about and put online, and like no one cared. And then I've done art that I felt like, this is crap, but whatever, I'll put it online, and then that gets shared around, and you just like really never know. So I think you can just improve your odds by just making a lot and putting a lot out there.
Is there a fear that it'll get ripped off in some way? I know that's happened to artist friends of mine where their work appears on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I can't deny that. It's happened to me many times. Thankfully, I have not ever dealt with like a big company stealing my stuff. Some of my artist friends have. Mostly for me, it's like some random Redbubble account is like selling stickers with my drawings on them or whatever. And often I'm able to appeal it or whatever. But I think like put your name on stuff, and ideally you'll have more people that will share it because they like it and are good people and want to share your art than the gross people that are going to rip it off. I wish I had a better answer. It sucks that that's what the environment is like online. But in my experience, there are a lot of like really lovely people that just get excited about things and want to show them to their friends. I feel like that's the type of person I am as a consumer. Yeah.
Is there something you wish you knew then, advice that you could give that like when you were first starting out, like, oh, I wish I drew more? I don't know.
I feel like I wish I had known like how long it can take. I'm a pretty like idealistic, like dreamer, head in the clouds kind of person, and it's easy to feel like, oh, I'm gonna share this, and then like Oprah's gonna see it, and then she's gonna share it, and I'm gonna be a millionaire, and I'm sure that type of thing has happened to people. But in general, like the way my career has grown is just like bit by bit, little things. I did this big freelance project with ESPN when I was first starting out, which was ridiculous because I know nothing about sports. I mean, truly nothing. So I was like Googling everything. But I really felt like once they share this on Facebook, like my Etsy shop is going to blow up and it's going to be amazing. And like, it got some comments and that was like it. But I don't regret it. It was just another step. And then I can say I've worked with ESPN, and things build on top of each other. So even if it feels like you're at a plateau, I guess, it's probably not going to last forever. And eventually something else will happen and the ball just keeps rolling.
Patience, right? Sounds like you need a lot of patience.
Yeah, I'm not taking my advice very well. I would still give it to other people.
Who are some of the current authors or graphic novelists that you find inspiring, or who should we all be checking out when this program ends?
Well, I have a friend, Christine Suggs, Suggs, who has a graphic memoir that I got to read earlier which is very exciting. It's called I'm Mija, and it's so great. It's like about embracing being half Mexican and traveling to visit their family in Mexico, but not fully knowing the language. And I've been following their stuff on Instagram for a long time. It always brings me a lot of comfort, and this is their first book. So I recommend that, of course. I love Lucy Knisley. She's been like inspiring me forever. She was one of the first artists that I came across on Tumblr when I was starting out. And she was like, I was like, this is the person that I want to be like. And I got to meet her at an art fair one time when I was starting out, and I completely like fangirled in a very embarrassing way. And she was really sweet. Her stuff has been super inspiring to me. And I'm obsessed with Lisa Hannawald. I feel like my obsession with Tina Fey has kind of given way to an obsession with Lisa Hannawald. She's the art director of BoJack Horseman, and she created Tuca and Birdie, which is like one of the best portrayals of anxiety in a TV show that I've ever seen. And she has all sorts of cool books. Some of them are more memoir-y, and some are like little snippets of different stuff, and some are fictional. And yeah, she's the coolest.
We'll have to compare collections because I am equally obsessed. And a lot of her stuff is not safe for work.
Oh yeah, lots of genitalia and butts and poop. And I love that like she is a girl and makes gross art. Like it's so like cool and refreshing to see. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I have art of hers that I've been meaning to hang on the walls ever since I moved into this apartment a year and a half ago. I really need to get on it.
I'll have to show you some of mine after the.
I would love to see.
What are you, as librarians, we also want to know what you're reading now. What is there anything? Not even necessarily graphic novels.
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, I don't read a ton of graphic novels. I read a lot of like short comics on like social media and stuff. But I saw this TikTok recently, and it was this girl who was saying like, I don't want a book where people are yearning. I want a book where like something's happening and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And that's kind of the vibe of what I've been into. I really loved the Truly Devious series. My sister recommended it. It's like young adult mystery, cozy kind of stuff. I haven't been reading a ton. I just turned in a book very recently, and I've been like frantically working on it for a while, so I'm excited to get back into it. I want to read more like mysterious stuff.
Can you tell us about it, or?
Sure, yeah. It's my second picture book after Bodies Are Cool, and I co-wrote it with my sister Cody. I have two sisters, as you see in Dancing at the Pity Party, and Cody's my middle sister. And she and I both have like major anxiety among other mental health issues. And we are always asking people if they're mad at us, just kind of compulsively. And so it's this children's book called Are You Mad at Me? And it's about a little ostrich who has anxiety, but she calls it the noodles because it makes her neck all noodly. And she just keeps thinking all these different animals are mad at her, but they are not. And the reason they might seem upset is because of some animal related reason. So like she was trying to wave at her friend who's a cheetah, and her friend ignores her, but then it turns out she was just running so fast because she's a cheetah that she didn't even see her waving. There's a bat that's like grouchy because they're nocturnal, so they're sleepy during the day. Just stuff like that. So it's like very whimsical, like gentle mental health for little kids. Another thing I could have used when I was little, because I was very anxious even when I was little.
Do you so this would be your second picture book.
Yes.
Do you have a preference? Are you sort of in a phase right now where picture books are sort of more the direction you want to work in, as opposed to like a full length, big? I mean, obviously that's a lot of work and it takes a ton of time. So.
I really like both. I think picture books worked really well for me during COVID when I had all this art block, and a 32-page book is a lot less overwhelming than a 200-page book with many illustrations on each page. But I really enjoy both. I always laugh, the difference between the feedback from readers that I get from Pity Party and Bodies Are Cool is so dramatic, and I love both of them so much, but it's like half emails of people telling me these dramatic stories that happen to them with death, which I welcome and am happy to read and respond to when I have the time. But then the other half is people sending me like baby photos, and like, my 2-year-old like notices people's belly buttons now and stuff. And it's such a breath of fresh air. So I don't know. I'm enjoying bouncing around and trying different kinds of stuff. But it was definitely very fun to work with my sister.
And did you work with her on Bodies Are Cool as well, or that was just your own?
Bodies Are Cool was dedicated to both of my sisters. They both had eating disorders in the past. And, we wanted little kids to start feeling good about their bodies when they're still really little, before they can get kind of buried under all the societal expectations. So they were definitely in my mind very much when I was working on that. But Cody and I co-wrote this together, and I illustrated it. Hopefully one day I'll do something with Spencer too, because she's also great, and she's an artist too, so who knows. Yeah.
And do you come up with the ideas, or does your publisher or editor say, oh, how about a middle grade, or why don't,
It's kind of all of the above. It's sometimes, I haven't done that many books, but I'll be like, I have this kind of vague idea, like, what do you think? And we kind of go back and forth. But Are You Mad at Me started because I was supposed to be working on this young adult book about mental health, sort of like a mental health version of Dancing at the Pity Party. This was like really deep into the middle of COVID, and I just felt like I was treading water and having a lot of self-doubt, and it was really tough. And then my grandma died. She was in her 90s, but it kind of like reopened the wound of my mom's death, and I was just like really flailing. And so I was trying to brainstorm how I could like shift to something slightly different. And Cody said as a joke, like, how about a book called Are You Mad at Me? Because I kept worrying that the publisher was going to be mad at me because I was having such a hard time. But thankfully, every person I work with is like so great and flexible. And so it all ended up working out.
God, I can't imagine writing a book about mental health in the midst of the pandemic. Because it's such a hard thing.
And it was like with Pity Party, like it's about a subject that's hard, but my mom has already died. So I'm telling a story of something that already happened. But with mental health, like I'm going through it right now. So it's tough. It's a subject that's really meaningful and inspiring to me, but it's hard to like like contain it and figure out how to write about it in a way that's unique. And hopefully I'll be getting back to that book eventually, but it was nice to draw some cute animals in the meantime.
I can imagine. I just want to remind the audience that if you have any questions for Tyler, to drop those in the chat, because we will get to those shortly. But I have another question that I have to ask, because it came up so many times in Dancing with the Pity Party. I want some eyebrow advice, because you talk so much about shapely eyebrows, and I'm like, mine are awful. Like, what do I need to do?
My mom was obsessed with eyebrows. I am not good at eyebrows. My mom was mad at me that my eyebrows were messy. I wish I had advice. I wish she would give me some more advice. I was literally just thinking, like, I've never gotten my eyebrows waxed before. Maybe I should try it and someone can help me with the shape. So.
I just enjoyed that was sort of this running thing throughout the book.
My God.
It came back to eyebrows.
Hearing readers talk about it has been so funny, because it was like the bane of my existence with my mom. Like, it seems like I'm exaggerating maybe, but like her chasing me around the house with tweezers is like not far from like what my reality was. She was just so meticulous. And I am sometimes, but I don't know. I found out I have ADHD a year ago, and I'm just like, I don't know. These are my eyebrows. These are what I've got. I don't think I'm ever going to be someone that tweezes a few hairs every day. I think I'm going to be someone who goes on a tweezing spree, and then 3 weeks later is like, oh my God, what happened? And then it's
Oh my
That's
God.
so funny.
Well, when I first read your book, I knew what it was going to be about. And I said, okay, because I know I'm not going to cry. I know what it's about. I know it's a sad subject, but I'm not going to cry. And about halfway through, I was just bawling. And I think, to me, it was the quality of the writing, and just how the illustrations came together with that, and you just felt what you were going through. I just really appreciated that, so I just had to mention that.
So much. That's
yeah,
so lovely to say. I honestly, like, I don't know how I would be reading a book like this. I think it would probably be hard for me to get through. I mean, I definitely like wanted to have a bunch of humor sprinkled in, but like reliving a really rough time. I'm desensitized to my own book at this point. When I was working on it, I was working on it frantically, like all day, every day for many months. So it was just a project at that point. And I'd be like scribbling in my iPad, and my sister would lean over and see that I'm drawing like my mom in a hospital bed with like an oxygen mask on, and I'm not even thinking about it because I'm just getting through the pages that I have to draw. And my sisters and family would freak out. So I think if I were seeing someone else's work like that, it would be pretty challenging for me too. I've got to be in the right mode to read or watch sad stuff.
do you draw on a tablet or your computer, or you use colored pencils?
Yeah, with Dancing at the Pity Party, I did the rough draft in a sketchbook just with pencil, and then I did the final art in my iPad. Most of the final art stuff I do is using the Procreate app on my iPad. It's really been, I've used many different tablets over the years, and this is my favorite. I'm left-handed, and I'm the kind of lefty where I draw like this. Like my hand is like resting on the page. And so with a lot of traditional media, it gets so smudgy. And it's really frustrating. I'm kind of a perfectionist and want everything to look exactly right. So it's very refreshing to work on a tablet where, there's a thing where it ignores the feeling of the side of my hand. I don't have to worry about that stuff, and I can press undo and whatever. It's been
It doesn't erase what you're doing as you're
right. Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah. Whenever I would have to like write stuff on the board in school, it would just be like erasing it as I was writing it because of how I and I found I took an art class earlier this summer, figure drawing, and I am so used to drawing on a tablet that I literally was trying to double tap on the paper. Like, you know, it sounds like a joke, but I was like ashamed. Like, it's like Black Mirror. Like, I'm so involved in technology. Eventually went away, but man, that impulse is embarrassing.
I have you just meant you're talking about your sisters while you were drawing and they'd look over and see it. I'm sure because your family's very close that they were very supportive of you during this process, but like what was there like when the book actually came out and was on the shelf, like how did your family react? Like were they, I don't know, I mean obviously I'm sure they were happy, but
I mean, it's been a little unusual because the book came out about a month into COVID. So it's not like I was seeing a lot of people in person and seeing their reactions and stuff. But in general, I was very, very lucky that my family was so supportive. I mean, I can't think of anyone who said like that they wished I had done something differently in the book, which like is so lucky, truly. I mean, I'm sure that like people are, you know, writing memoirs and stuff all the time and it's messing things up in their family. But I think this subject matter is like, I'm telling this straightforward thing and then I'm just talking about how great my mom was. So how upset can people get about that, I guess? I mean, it was like a gradual process, and one of my sisters read the book in therapy with her therapist.
Wow.
My other sister, she and I would like meet up at a coffee shop every time I finished a chapter, and she would read the chapter that I just finished, and that was cool. But it's like the same as dealing with grief. We all just kind of like go about it differently.
I love how close you and your sisters are. I mean, you
Yeah,
can see it
like,
in the book, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I think my life would have been really different if my mom had died and I didn't have my sisters to hang out with and deal with it together. We've been really great. We do a lot of like laughing. I mean, as you can tell in the book, we went to this salad place in Florida where we used to live like very soon after my mom died, maybe like a few months later. And this woman who worked at the restaurant, I guess she was like a mom of another kid that went to the same high school as my sisters, and she knew my mom from like PTA or something. And she said to us, "Oh, how's your mom doing?" And Cody was like, "Well, she actually did die." We were all just like crying with laughter at how awkward the situation was. It's like it's no one's fault. It was nice that this woman was asking how she was doing, but having this horrible thing happen, you just like run into awkward situations all the time. And, if I had been alone without my sisters when that happened, it would have been way more uncomfortable. But we just laughed and still think about it regularly and continue laughing about it.
What did she do? Was she just...
I don't even really remember. She said, "I'm so sorry." So, whatever people do, they're not trying to make you feel bad. It's just like circumstances are awkward. I don't blame people.
Lauren, should we start the rapid fire question? This or that? We've got 10 minutes left. So we play this game called This or That, and it's just just fun and just to get to know you a little better. So, I see it's been changed. So the first one is dogs or cats, but I like talking dogs or talking cats.
Oh, like
what do you like this or that? What's better?
I mean, I'm like the biggest cat person in the world. My cat left. He was laying up there before. It has to be. Look at the mug I'm using.
Oh.
It's really like as a kid, it was like my two things were art and cats. So we've covered them.
All right. How about beach or mountains?
I really like a non-tropical beach. Like I love Lake Michigan here. It's so beautiful. I don't know. There's something kind of special about a beach that isn't like tropical. Vacation.
So music or quiet when working?
Music or podcast or Law and Order SVU. It's rare that it's totally quiet. Sometimes it feels like silence is more distracting. When I was in college, I did all my homework at Barnes and Noble instead of the library because I liked the ambient noise and stuff.
That just made me think. Sorry, I'm just going out of this or that for 1 second. Do you create a playlist when you're writing, or do you just like listen to whatever you're in the mood for?
Lately, I've been trying to work on making more playlists. I'm kind of I'm new to Spotify. So it's just a lot of listening to like my liked songs. But my liked songs are like all sad indie acoustic music. So I guess it fits the book.
Okay, sorry. Back to this or that.
Sorry,
Okay.
my answer's not been rapid at all.
Night owl or early bird?
Kind of in between. I'm probably closer to a night owl.
Salty or sweet?
Salty. I would way rather have appetizers than desserts. I feel like that's kind of an unusual opinion.
I'm like, I want both.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, that's
Optimal.
Okay, summer or winter?
Winter, or really fall is my favorite. But winter, I like my sad music and my cold weather, and I'm just like a little sad vampire.
Is there anyone you're listening to now? I like sad acoustic, indie, jangly pop too. So
Iron and Wine, Lord Huron, the Lumineers,
okay,
that type. Yeah, that's the vibe.
Those are sad.
Yeah,
they're good, but they're sad.
I listen to sad music even when I'm not sad. I don't know what the deal is. I just find it comforting.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, Lauren, we've got 5 minutes. Do we have any? I don't see any questions in the audience. Do you have any last minute questions? I know I want to hear more about Lisa Hanawalt, but I'm not going to do it for the broadcast.
We'll do a separate event that's just
okay.
Yeah, no, I feel like Tyler, you really this was so great. I mean,
yeah,
all the questions I had, and I mean, you can see in my book I have a bunch of little
that's so cool.
my little tabs in there, but like they're all on like the parts that I just really enjoy, like funny parts. Like I think one of my favorites is this one where you're putting stuff in. I can't get it right. Okay, yeah, where you're putting boxes in your basement. I just love that. I just think it's so funny that you're like low-rise jeans. Like it's all this serious stuff, and then it's low-rise jeans. I just think that's hilarious. So.
When my mom was sick, there was in the oncology wing at the hospital we went to, they used to have this little whiteboard that said like thought of the day on it. And this one time, I should have like taken a picture then, but it said, laughing at the wrong times is still good for you. And I was like, yes, yes. I like grabbed onto that. It could have been a dream. I have no documentation of it anywhere, but it was just, yeah, I like laughing when things are hard.
I agree. Humor always it's just a way to deal with things, and it's a nice way to deal with things.
I agree. I think it's healthy. Maybe if I was like cackling at my mom dying, that would be bad, but like, you know, you don't become a fully different person when you go through a loss. And I was someone who liked to laugh before my mom died. I still very much like to laugh after she died.
All right. Well, since we're just about out of time, I'll just say thank everybody that joined us today. And we hope you really enjoyed this conversation with author Tyler Fetter. And definitely don't forget to email the ecdept@lapl.org for a chance to win a book. And visit our website, lapl.org/events, to see more of our amazing programs. And just to give you all a heads up in our audience, our next Your Author series is set for Friday, October 7th at 4 p.m., when the Los Angeles Public Library is proud to present author, musician, and educator Dr. Gloria Arjona, who will be joining us to talk about her latest middle grade book, The Story of Selena Quintanilla. Selena Quintanilla was the queen of Tejano music, but before she became a star, Selena was a charismatic young girl who loved singing and performing. She made a lot of sacrifices to become a famous musician, and her hard work paid off as she became the first 15-year-old girl to win a Tejano Music Award and went on to break many records during her career. This Selena biography explores how she went from being a talented girl growing up in Texas to a fashion icon and a world-famous singer. Dr. Gloria Arjona, the author, teaches Spanish at the California Institute of Technology and is also the author of Pasados Unknown Calaveras and Loteria. It'll be streaming live on the library's YouTube channel. And just like today, attendees will have the opportunity to win a free book.
And also remember to check out our Bio Blitz Challenge that runs through September 30th. You can sign up at lapl.org/steam/BioBlitz. And apparently we only need 4,328 more observations to put on iNaturalist, and then something amazing happens. And we want to remind you all to join us tomorrow, Saturday, September 24th, for the LA Libros Fest. This event will be at our central library with select programs streaming on our YouTube account. Go to lapl.org/Libros-Fest for more information. And until next time, we truly appreciate all your support, and the success of all of our programs, library programs, could not happen without viewers like you. So thank you.